what appears to be a multiple victim homicide and suicide with ties to a very dark side of American politics. Police say they believe that the shooter is J.T. Reddy, one of the country's most visible neo-Nazis and most vocal anti-immigrant provocateurs. He killed his girlfriend's adult daughter, the daughter's boyfriend, and the daughter's 16-month-old infant child before turning the gun on himself and committing suicide.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
911, where's your emergency?
There was gunshots and my mom and my niece and my sister are all on the floor and I think they're dead. It was my mom's boyfriend, J.T. Reddy. They were fighting, they were screaming. I was in my room and now they're all dead.
Okay, where did you hear the gunshot?
I heard it coming from outside. The front door is open. They're all lying on the floor. There's blood.
Okay, who has been shot? Do you know?
My mom, my sister, and my niece. Please
Your mom, your sister, and your niece have all been shot?
Yes.
Okay, we've got officers on the way.
Brothers and sisters, a new era has gone. National Socialists and Klans and white nationalists stand together here in unity and solidarity. No longer will this struggle be divided.
Hail victory!
These are the enemies of humanity out here. They say they are the forces of tolerance. We see the forces of degeneracy trying to drown out the message of white patriotism, flipping us the bird, the anti-racist scum. You should know by now you cannot face the National Socialist movement in the streets. How many times have you had to pick up your bodies or your injured comrades off the ground when you face them? Those of you that know about the NSM, we are the front line of the fight for the white race. We are the shock troops for the white race.
Okay, well, first I was just curious exactly what your level of involvement in the NSM was, like if you were a full member or if you just were kind of tagging along with the husbands.
I was kind of like a full member in a way. It's kind of hard to explain because I kind of really didn't have a choice to. I just kind of was like, okay, you're a member. You know what I mean? And you're going to be a unit leader too. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of what it was like
is,
for me. It was like, okay, you're our leader now. Oh, all right. Well, okay, let's have a meeting.
Okay. I think the thing was that Jeff wanted to have women leadership to try to appeal to more people. So I think that's what that was. But yeah.
And then with your Jewish heritage, was that something you were always aware of, or did you just did that become known to you later?
No, I knew about that beforehand, actually. When I first got involved with all of that stuff, I was really only going for the whole illegal immigration issue. I didn't really care about anything else. And when I first got involved, I didn't realize exactly what the group was. I thought it was a nationalist group. So after I found out what it was, I'm like, oh, crap.
I thought it was a legitimate political party.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. And I was expecting it to be more intellectual. I wasn't
Me too.
expecting it to be, I wasn't expecting, like, the whole, skinhead thing.
I thought it was going to be like a racist book club, where we'd sit around and we'd read something and then talk about, just how great it was to be white and how much we really loved this part of the book and everything. I didn't know it was going to be like red shoelaces.
Yeah, I didn't quite get all of that at first. It was just a very strange lifestyle. I actually have talked to other people who have left, and one of the things that all of us have pretty much decided on is that there are a lot of features of that group that are very cultish. It might not be a cult per se, but, a lot of mind control, not really mind control, but like everybody has to think the same way, and if you dare question anybody, then, oh, you're a traitor,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, what I noticed was they really frowned on anyone in the group who had any kind of life that was outside the group, even like a full-time job. If you had a job, you're basically a Jewish wage slave.
Right, or, if you had any job that was more than, like, going and working at a cash register at Burger King, you were a Jew, you were, trying to achieve something or have a nice house or anything like that. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, that's not how I live. But,
now, was your husband aware that you were Jewish?
Knew we were from Poland, and half of my family is Catholic, so I actually grew up in the Catholic world. I didn't attend Hebrew school as a kid or anything like that, so I decided to become more Torah observant actually after I learned about what the group was about. And actually, when my ex-husband was working overseas, I don't really want to talk too much about him because I don't want to give him any free press, I guess. Yeah. But when he was overseas, I actually observed Sabbath, and I lit my Sabbath candles every Friday. So if I had pictures of Benjamin Netanyahu, I had my Hebrew prayer book.
Okay,
he was very cool to me, and he would call me names like, Polish kike and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Now, how exactly did you find the NSM?
I was actually talking to the other member who brought me in. He was actually in the SS, the elite SS. Oh boy. We were talking about things like illegal immigration and other things on different sites. I was even blogging about being Jewish at the time, and he would leave me comments there that were nice. It was very odd. It was kind of like he was trying to do his duty to pull me away from that and to make me be a, proud Aryan woman because of my blonde hair and blue eyes, and I was of the age of being a good breeding stock.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I think that's what that was all about. Extreme.
But I imagine it must have been a real challenge to join a group like the NSM and hear all kinds of horrible things about Jews and suppress a part of your own heritage so that you can be accepted by a loser crowd like that.
Right. Well, the part of it was because of the ex. He was, I thought he really was an informant, to be honest, which is why I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fine, good, destroy the group, I'm glad, please do. But, so I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of watching and, watching him play his role. I thought he was just playing a role, to be honest. Everything just kind of hit me, what was actually going on and what I actually married. So about that time, then I started looking into, okay, how do I get out of here? How do I get away from people like this? And I started trying to contact other people who had previously left. I actually talked to, One People's Project, and they were very supportive. So finally, after I just got all that...
suggestions did they give you? Did they suggest anything you could do?
Basically, it was more like just make sure you get out safely and do whatever you can to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And I have a daughter too, so it's like I got to make sure she's okay and everybody else is, my family is okay.
How old is she?
She's a teenager. She's actually a sophomore in high school, so she's 16.
Did she ever come to any of the meetings or rallies?
No. And I didn't really want her exposed to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really, even when I fully believed in everything we were doing, I wanted my kids to make their own decision about that when they were older, and that was something the group really frowned on. They said, well, what other choice is there? This is the only life that there is. This is the only future they're going to have if you want them to grow up right. So they didn't really like that about me.
Yeah, they didn't like that about me either. I don't really see how that situation would help my daughter become a productive member of society. Or, I don't know, maybe she'd be the one who would be supporting them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of setting a child up to be an outcast in many situations. I mean, I know. I mean, you probably remember some of the kids at the rallies who were like 12, 13 years old. I just imagine they're having so many problems now if they're still doing this.
I know a couple of them who I actually would talk to when we were involved in all that. Was they did actually leave. I know one of the boys is still involved, but I think all of the girls are gone now, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'm always happy to hear about people who have left the group, especially the kids.
Right.
I always try to reach out to them and just let them know that, hey, there's other people out there who have left too, and you're not alone, and you're doing the right thing, and keep going on the right path.
Yeah, it's really not so unusual that it's funny how people they react so harshly when somebody actually doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. Like it's like it's just the weirdest thing ever. Like, oh, why would you not want to be a part of people like this?
Why would I want to be a part of them?
and the story is always the same. That whoever left realized that these people are scum. They don't they don't believe in a future for white children like they say they do.
Right.
They're not
what kind of
representatives of their race. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, speaking for myself, being Jewish and all that. I mean, people like NSM, they suck.
Now, are you familiar with Harold Covington and the Northwest Front at all?
Actually, I know a little bit about it, and I actually knew some people in the NSM who eventually went that way, or I don't know if they went with Harold, but they went kind of the whole, pioneer little Europe thing.
Yeah.
So I've heard about that. I've heard, did Harold wrote a lot of books, right? Or
yes,
some
he's
books,
written 5 or 6 novels. He calls them the Northwest novels. It's basically about how the white people take over the Pacific Northwest for their own, and everything's great, once you get rid of all the colored people. And then he's written also, 15 or 20 just little murder mystery type things.
Oh, okay.
But he basically he's convinced that the reason why his life sucks so much and that he doesn't have anything is because he's a white male and the whole world is out to get him.
That's pretty interesting because I know a lot of white males who, live in very nice homes and drive nice cars and are happy and productive and.
Well, they're obviously Jewish wage slaves. Then they're not. So that's what Harold would say. They're race traders.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. Maybe I should go join now. Jeez.
Yeah, if you know of a white male with a job, he's probably, a Jew or an informant or something. Did you notice that among the men of the NSM, just kind of blaming the Jews and the whole rest of the world for their own shortcomings?
Yeah. That's the good. That's what I said. I think I wrote that on your blog in one of the comments.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it's a lot of. I would say short is a very good description for some of them. At least one of them.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to take the 5 words on that.
Yeah. Oh.
Sometimes I wonder about people like Jeff. I mean, what is he doing with his life now? I mean, did you know Joanna very well?
I kind of do. We do talk to each other. She's on my Facebook, and I'm glad to see that she's out and she's doing, going on with her life and going to school and happy and all of that. So I'm glad for that.
I just got to wonder why. What attracted her to the NSM? I mean, she has a child who is mixed race, and I guess if she herself is mixed, I mean. What made her want to join us?
I'm not really sure. I've never really got into that with her. I kind of just let that go, and because I was trying to be supportive as she was, getting away from the movement and getting her mind back.
Of course. I'm just glad that she's out.
Oh, I am too. I'm very glad.
Did she just really like Jeff so much that she was willing to just forget about a whole other part of her life?
That could be. I mean, a lot of these guys in these movements are very, they're very narcissistic, and they're very good at charming you into believing things and then not producing what they promised. So there probably could have been a lot of that, and I don't really know.
You know, I could see maybe somebody like Jeff convincing somebody like Joanna that, well, you know, we're not a hate group. We're just it's all about immigration. Okay, we're just anti-immigrant. And then, like you, once you realize what it really is, then you're like, oh, well, crap. Now I'm married to this guy, and what do I do now?
Right, exactly. I've actually heard of women who have had children and not known until they had the children what their husbands were into. That's a rare occurrence, though, but I did actually hear about somebody like that, and it ended up not having a good ending. I guess what happened was she just couldn't take it anymore, and she just put a bullet in the guy's head. I mean, I think the guy was in Maine or something like that.
If you speak out against a man in the organization, especially if you go through the police or through a social worker, I mean, you're just the biggest race traitor in the world.
I guess so.
It's like no matter what the circumstance, you never speak out against a man in the group.
Yeah, that's something I noticed too, and they use a lot of fear and intimidation to keep you in line.
I mean, it's kind of like, you know, none of the guys, you don't, under any circumstances, you don't want to be called a faggot or a Jew, so you do anything possible to prove that you are not either of those things. And it's like with us, we don't want to be called race traitors. I mean, not,
right.
You know, obviously now I don't care, but if you still have any kind of loyalty to the group, if you have any desire to be a part of them, you want to do everything you possibly can to prove that you're not a traitor.
Right, and I definitely encourage anybody who is in that situation to go to the police as soon as you possibly can. Make sure that you always have a way to get you and your children to a place of safety. And just keep that in your mind, especially if you're just starting to think about, you know, hey, this isn't really good, this isn't a good situation for me. Get an escape plan together. If you can, get papers, you know, school records, copies of any house ownership papers. Try to get those saved somewhere. And I always recommend too, if you are in this type of a situation, have a bag in your trunk with clothes, extra medicine, that sort of thing, because you are entitled to a better life than this, and it's always good to see people, you know, to leaving the organizations and getting their lives back on track. And I just highly encourage any women or children who need help to please go out and get it. Nobody is going to put you and your kids in jail. You know, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. Just, you know, do what you need to do to keep yourself safe.
And did you experience any retaliation from anyone else in the group?
I did not.
That's very fortunate. But when it's not just a person you're walking away from, it's a whole organization, it's a whole lifestyle. When you're suddenly a traitor to a very violent group of people, then it becomes really dangerous.
Right. That's exactly. That was really what kind of kept me there longer than I really should have been. I was, you know, just afraid that people were going to hurt me or my kid, and I wasn't going to deal with that. I wasn't going to allow that to happen. So, oh well.
There seems to be this attitude that there are just bad apples in the group, and that we as women just have to deal with them. And I mean, like people tell me all the time, oh well, you should have just known who the bad guys were. Well, what about maybe there just shouldn't have been bad guys in a group that really goes on and on about how much they love white women and white children. Why is it just universally accepted? Oh, there's bad guys. It's just up to you to figure out who they are. Well, they just say that you are a feminist, and as women in this
Right.
group, we never want to be called a feminist. It's like being called a race traitor. We'll do anything to prove that that's not what we are. Did your family have anything to say about you joining the group, or did they know?
They did know, actually, and they did work to try to help me get out. Actually, when I was on vacation with my parents right before, my mother and my sister, right before we had the situation here in August of 2010, we had been talking about, when is the next time he's going to be out of town? Let's get all of his stuff together and put it in storage somewhere, and then when he gets back, he has to just leave.
I totally forgot it was Hitler's birthday coming up and everything, and they're probably planning something really stupid like always.
Yeah.
Do they even have?
Oh,
is there
sure.
even an NSM anymore?
Yes, there is.
And
There
do
is,
they still have rallies?
Yeah, they actually did have a rally recently. Not that I follow what they do, but they had an event. I know they had an event in Kentucky. I think that was their last nationals. I think they had something in November somewhere. I don't know where it was. And I think they're supposed to be this huge Klan rally coming up in March, too. I don't want to give the dates of when that is, although I think it might be today when we're recording this, as we're recording this. And I know the NSM was going to that. Yeah, I don't really like to talk about rallies like in my blogs or anywhere until after they've happened.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to draw attention to it. But I do think I have the right to laugh hysterically at them after they do.
Did you know JT Reddy very well?
I didn't really know him. I mean, he was kind of there at the time, but I think he might have even been at that event where we both were at in 2009.
Oh yeah, he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was there, and my ex would talk to NSM people like all day until he went to bed at night. So I know he talked to JT Reddy, Jeff Hall, all of those types of people. He also liked to defend John Schneider too. I don't know if you heard about that one. Where
the name sounds familiar. Was he a pedophile or something?
Yeah, well, he raped his wife while the son watched after she divorced him, and he was on America's Most Wanted. And my ex-husband still to this day defends him.
Of course.
Yeah. And apparently they had a national event. I think it was 2008 maybe in Missouri. And the FBI were there looking for him. And they did eventually find him in Missouri, so he was eventually brought to justice. But see, these are the lovely types of people you get to meet in the white nationalist organizations.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever been around, so many criminals all at once.
I never knew any criminals. I mean, I don't... The idea of somebody being in jail, for that kind of stuff, it's just foreign to me. I grew up, nice family, white picket fence. Dad went to work, Mom stayed home. We had dinner on the table at 5 o'clock. The whole concept of, people doing that kind of stuff just is foreign to me. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. So then, how long have you actually been in the process of converting to Judaism?
Well, I officially, first of all, I don't really have to convert because of I come in from my mother's bloodline, so I'm actually through birth, a Jew, but I decided to convert because I didn't go to Hebrew school as a kid. I needed to integrate myself into the Jewish community, that sort of thing. Officially, I've been on the conversion path for about 2 years, but I've been into, wanting to be Jewish since I was about 8.
Okay, so is it you just go to a bunch of classes
Yeah, I actually took a bunch of classes, meet with a rabbi. The rabbi basically makes sure that you know what to do to how to observe the whole, the holidays for an entire year. They answer questions for you that you might have. Basically, just help you integrate into the community. We just are celebrating Passover now, which is when the Jewish community actually officially, formed as itself, and that is, what the point is of celebrating Passover. When we came out of Egypt, and Moses took us on a 40-year trip through the desert, and we found the only country in the Middle East without oil, where we decided to settle, and it was at that time when Moses got the Torah and the Jewish people became the Jewish people. So I mean, it's kind of relevant to, talking about a conversion to Judaism and joining the group of the Jewish community. I just went to 2 Seders for Passover, which is when the whole community gets together. They are so welcoming. They've been wonderful to me. I mean, I went to actually an Orthodox one and a Reform one. I love being around Jews. They're awesome.
And do they know about your background? I mean, your brief.
Yeah. I mean, I don't keep it. I don't keep it silent. In fact, I was at first very hesitant to even go to a synagogue, just because I was just so upset about what had happened. But I found several very nice rabbis who were more than happy to say, hey, this happened. We're so sorry to hear about what happened, and that you fell into all of that stuff. And we are so happy that you're not into that anymore. Please come to our services. Come be a part of our congregation. So, yeah, they've been very supportive.
Right. I found that people of other races and Jewish people, they're not really interested in judging me for anything that I used to do. They're just interested in who I am now, and they're glad that I'm no longer doing those other things.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that part of what keeps us in that situation is that we are afraid of what the outside world is going to do to us, because that's just been pushed onto us for so long. I mean, even if we don't believe in what the group believes in and we want to get away from the group, there's still a lot of fear about that outside world. And it took me a long time before I realized just the mental prison that I was in.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I am on the path to, getting into the Jewish community, and I mean, I self-identify as Jewish. I wear a star on my neck, and I'm keeping kosher, trying to be observant of Jewish laws and all that kind of stuff. So,
what sort of Jewish laws do you observe that you didn't before?
Well, let's see. I light candles every Friday, sundown. At sundown, I make sure that I'm home for it. Sometimes I work from home on Friday, so I can be there to do my candle lighting. That's really one of the blessings that a woman has in her home, is to light her Sabbath candles and welcome in a time of rest. There are other things too that you do, like just observing the holidays, and I do kind of more of a, like how the Orthodox women are. I wear modest clothing, cover up to the elbows and to the knees. That's what I pretty much do. I don't really have a lot of obligations because being female, Jews consider women to be more spiritual than men, so we don't have as many obligations, like to pray, 5 times a day or whatever. So we're not even obligated to go to synagogue. I mean, it's, we are considered just spiritually higher.
And is there anything that's really hard to observe, like something that, as a Jewish person, you can't do that you wish you could do?
Well, one of the things that's really hard is, like right now in Passover, it's 10 days, and we aren't allowed to have anything that is of leavened bread. So, like a sandwich, I can't have bread, and I can't have pasta right now. Some people choose not to have things like rice and lentils and oats or cereal. So 10 days of doing that will make you quite tired. And I think we have about 3 more days to go. But I'm keeping the Torah commandments, so it's all I can do.
And what takes place at the synagogue during a service?
Oh, let's see. It's a lot like a Catholic Mass, kind of, except, we don't have the whole, this is my body and all that kind of stuff, like with communion. Mm-hmm. You go and you listen to the Torah being read, a lot of songs. We do a thing where we remember the people who have died, and we have this thing called Yard Site where every year you remember the death of your parent or grandparent. So they'll read the names of all of those people, and you say a special prayer in Hebrew as a community to remember the people who have passed. And then you just basically go home. Oh, and we have these really cool after parties where we have wine and bread and that type of thing.
I've experienced a lot of Jewish funerals, and what I've noticed is that the entire community comes together. I mean, they build the casket. They don't do a hearse or anything. They'll carry it to the grave, and they'll sing and pray, and then it was so different than when just some a Christian died, and the family would be like, "Oh, can we just do a credit card over the phone? We don't want to come in."
Right. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, they usually have people who have planned what to do, and there's usually a society of people that helps with burial and making those arrangements. I remember hearing something about how somebody is supposed to sit with the body just to make sure that it stays safe. And I know there's a bunch of mourning rituals that are done, like sitting Shiva, obviously. You're allowed to just go into the person's home who's mourning and bring them food, and if they don't want to talk, you don't make them talk. And then after the period of mourning, I think it's 7 days. I'm not totally sure, though. They are supposed to have finished their mourning and then resume normal life. And it's actually interesting just because, you go through all of your emotions during that time period. And, the community's there if you want them to be there, or if you just want to do it yourself, you go through your emotions, and then you emerge ready to go back into the world. So it's actually very helpful, I find.
I remember seeing 2 Jewish men at a gravesite. They wanted to fill the grave themselves, and they were using small shovels and just taking hours and hours to do what the cemetery workers could have done in an instant. And I asked them about it, why they wanted to do something that would take that long. And they just said, "We're in no hurry to bury our dead."
Mhm. Yes, there's a lot of the actions that we do as Jews are to bring the spiritual into the physical. It's like by keeping kosher, we remember God's commandments to us of how to live and how to act and so forth. By dressing modestly, it's just a way of bringing godliness into the world. I mean, it depends really on attitude, on the attitude as you're doing something. I mean, even the act of washing your car, going to work, taking care of your kids. If you do it with a godly attitude, it's bringing the spiritual into the physical, and that's really what Judaism likes to do. That's one of our missions in life.
And you're dating a Jewish man, or you're married to a Jewish man now?
Yes, dating.
All right.
Yes, very, very nice individual. I don't really want to bring him into this, but he's a good person, and yeah. I like Jewish men. They're polite. They are very willing to help you with whatever you need. Good listeners. Just willing to take care of you. So I like that.
Now, is it true that their religious materials, their texts and everything are not widely available?
No, you can order anything you want. Like prayer books are available on Amazon. There's the Talmud. You can go online and read it. The Mishnah is the written version of the oral law. You can look that up online as well. You can get copies of anything or go to your local rabbi and ask questions. Jews love questions. We love to answer things, and it's what Judaism is a big part of, is asking questions and learning. And we're not told you must believe this. We're told this is the way it is, and let's have a discussion about it. And then by the time you have a discussion, you'll realize, oh, well, maybe these past 1,000 years of prophets and so forth, and I guess that really does make sense. So, but yeah, everything's available. I know that.
I think maybe on some level, I'm still just kind of believing everything that my guys told me about Jews, and one of the things they told me was that they're very secretive. They won't tell a non-Jew anything about their religion or what they do. So don't bother asking.
Well, I think that is very false. I have never met a Jew that didn't like to talk. I mean, as far as that stereotype, we love to talk and and that sort of stuff, and ask questions and have discussions. So we're very open to any kind of discussion. You can talk to any rabbi, or just don't touch one, because especially in the Orthodox tradition, men and women who aren't married or aren't their parents or their children aren't supposed to touch each other. It's just a sign of respect. So, But feel free to ask any questions that you want. They'll be more than happy to talk, as long as
I'm not really a big grabber anyway. I don't just walk up to people.
Right.
I remember years ago, when I was like 19 or 20, I lived in Oregon, and I was dating a man who was the manager of a grain factory, and he would have a rabbi come in and bless some of the grain, and the rabbi had all kinds of rules he had to follow, like he couldn't ever sit in a chair that a woman had sat in. And he would just say a few words over the grain, and then they could sell the grain for a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know too much about the koshering of food. Usually I've never heard of any rabbis going and praying over food, but okay. I know the Orthodox do have different rules sometimes, and sometimes it's just that they take things a little too far that were, relevant back in biblical times, but not now.
I think I'm following everything in the Old Testament. I mean, even the stuff that's not, illegal now. I think that would be very exhausting.
Right. And, things like, too, with food storage, the not eating of pork. I know a lot of Jews that eat bacon and pork tenderloin and all that sort of stuff, and shrimp. So I think part of that, though, back in those days, you didn't want pork sitting around in the hot sun. for a long time.
Yeah.
'Cause then you'd get sick, and obviously that would be bad. But nowadays we have a refrigerator, and that issue is kind of out. So, but yeah, I mean, the door is always open to, talk to Jews and learn about us and, all that. So.
Well, I'm always interested in learning about someone else's religion because, religion is something that people kill and die and sacrifice for. So, yeah, I want to know what's all the fuss about,
Right. I mean, it's just what you believe in and the way you see God and what's important to you and all of that. And, I mean, yeah, the Bible has a very violent history. People going around killing each other and doing it because they think that God told them to. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. I think that's just kind of weird. But
are you raising your daughter Jewish?
She does attend synagogue with me, and she attends the Passover Seders and stuff. And when she gets older, if she decides that she wants to go down that path, she is more than welcome to.
Okay. So, but it wouldn't bother you if she chose something else, as long as it wasn't the NSM?
Yes, definitely. As long as it's not the NSM, I'm cool. Or the Klan, or anything else like that. Yeah.
So you didn't get you didn't get a bunch of swastika tattoos or anything like that?
No, I did not get anything like that. My whole thing back then was to try to stay, as hidden away as possible and try not to get any pictures taken or anything like that. So I did not do anything like that. So, yeah, I pretty much hid whenever those events happened. So
that's the first thing I noticed about JT Reddy. He would just jump in front of those cameras.
What's your first name so I can identify you?
JT Reddy out of Arizona, very well known.
Oh.
People told me he would just sit around Googling himself all day.
That doesn't surprise me. I was like, oh my God, that guy is crazy. I was so floored when I saw what he did.
I still don't know what the hell happened. I don't get that at all.
I don't either. I mean, they're just horrible. I mean, all these people, seems like all these people I know are having really bad things happening to them.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, that's why you get out of the movement.
Did you know Jeff Hall very well?
I really didn't know him very well. I know my ex talked to him a lot on the phone, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was some violence going on over there.
Well, I think a child does not kill his father for no reason at all. Something was obviously very wrong in that household, and I don't necessarily think that the child was just mentally ill, and that just explains everything. I think because there are plenty of mentally ill children who don't shoot their parents.
Right. No, I agree. I think that there was some kind of violence going on. Maybe what I first thought, and this is purely speculation, is that they after events, I know my ex-husband would get very aggressive, and I just stayed out of his way. I don't know if maybe after they had an event at their house, Jeff just went all violent and was, being abusive, and then something happened late at night with the kid. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know him very well. Again, he was just someone I talked to on the phone. I think he probably talked to everybody.
Right. Yeah, I think I might have talked to him once. And I never really liked being around those people. So, yeah, but I do like hearing from people who have left, though. I really
I'm always
like
interested in hearing from people who have left, and unfortunately, there's people who had it a lot worse than we did.
Oh yeah.
I think we were fortunate.
I think so too. I definitely do. Even as crazy as my home situation was, I think it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I think I was fortunate that I never married one of those guys. I easily could have. So something spared me from that.
Yeah, and I'm just glad I never had any children.
Oh, me too.
Well, especially a boy. I mean, I probably could have gotten a girl out, but a boy, oh my God, I'd have to hide him.
Mhm.
And it's just always good to hear that good people have escaped from the groups, and you know, it's just important to remember to just stay centered and make sure you're forming your own opinions about stuff, and you know, and just getting rid of that mental prison that we kind of walked into, and just going on and being dedicated to living a happy, healthy, prosperous life.
Well, at least I can say with absolute confidence that any mistakes I make throughout the rest of my life, I will never join a neo-Nazi group again. I couldn't, even if I wanted to. They would say, no, we're not taking you. You get the hell out of here.
No, I think I've kind of made that decision pretty plain. I think every time I'm in a synagogue or I'm doing a prayer or I'm lighting my Sabbath candles, I'm sitting there thinking, I am so glad I'm here rather than there. I think about that just about every time I do something, you know, Jewish-ish. So.
I mean, maybe if these white men, you know, if they truly were nothing that we ever had to fear, nothing that we ever had to keep our children away from, maybe they would be more believable when they tried to warn us about the dangers of everyone who's not just like them.
Right, exactly. And that's just such a common thing, though, among cults too, is they'll try to get you to believe that the outside world is evil, while the rest of while our little group will protect you and keep you safe, and you know everything you need is here. It's like the FLDS or the other groups out there.
And of course, all I've heard is that my whole problem was that I joined the wrong white supremacy thing. You know, I should have joined the American Nazi Party, or I should have joined the Klan. You know, it was the NSM. That was the whole mistake I made. Well, and that was kind of why I went to the Northwest Front. I thought, okay, well, this white supremacy thing is going to be so much better. But no, it's all the same. It's all the same people. It's all the same values.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and it all comes down to being just the same exact thing. I think that there's a lot of people who are mentally ill.
Shows you what kind of savages we're dealing here with a revolution. No, they are the antagonists. They're the ones that don't belong here.
Is this what you wanted?
We wanted to demonstrate peacefully in America, and you can see what the result is.
They bring machines.
You have criminals that will cross the line and push away cops. Same ones that are raping our children.
Okay, thanks.
You got it.
Jews go home! Jews go home!
Although I think I'm probably mentally ill, and that's what caused me to turn on my race like this. But can you imagine, like, if I went to a psychiatrist and said, I think I have some kind of mental health issue, and can you imagine him actually saying, well, yeah, what you need to do is get back into the NSM. That's what I recommend as a professional.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you'd think in my case, then the police social worker should have said, no, you need to go back to your husband and go attend his next rally with him and make sure you wear the whole full outfit. No,
I don't think I saw you in the uniform.
No, you wouldn't have. I think I wore it like maybe twice or something like that. And then was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Man, I love that uniform. That was my pride and joy.
Oh, yeah.
Look what I get to be a part of.
Were you there when they wore the skirts with the white blouses and those big old shoes?
I don't remember the shoes, but I had the dress uniform. I sewed a patch on one of my nice white shirts, and wore the little the red tie and the pins and everything, and the cap.
Oh, okay. We didn't have a cap.
Oh, I wore my uniform cap.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we wore skirts and these really heavy black shoes that the policewomen wear, and they were painful, and I hated them. Like, I would never do this. And, yeah, you'd be wearing the white blouse, and the antis would throw water at you. Yeah, very nice. But yeah, well.
One of my favorite things to do was to shine all the guys' boots. I made sure they all had nice shiny boots.
Oh, I bet they appreciated every moment that you spent, too.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, do you ever watch their coverage, like on YouTube or anything like that?
You know, I just got so bored and kind of embarrassed to look at those videos. It's just a bunch of shouting matches, just grown men standing on a street corner screaming at each other.
Yeah, I never really saw the point to that, other than just to attract other people to send in dues money and buy their crap off their websites.
Well, I remember that 2009 rally. Just, I didn't know what I was in for. I thought we were going to just march down the street in formation and be nice, dignified white people. And then Harrington just started yelling about, deporting the Jews or something, and then the whole thing just turned into, a big circus. And I was pretty embarrassed. And then in Los Angeles the next year, he said, okay, we're not doing what we did last year, but we did the same thing, of course.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, Harrington. Yeah, I've met him a couple times. That was a mind twister there.
I remember seeing him just cry tears of joy at what he thought we accomplished with our rally.
Jeez. He was very weird. Sometimes he would talk to me, and other times he would act like he was too important to talk to me. It was very schizophrenic.
Have you noticed the amount of Satanists that the group seemed to draw in?
Yes.
I could never understand why that was. I mean, what does Satanism have to do with being a Nazi?
I don't know. I think it's just the perception that, Satanists are into things that are evil, so this is evil, so they like it. I don't even know if they're really Satanists, because I heard that Satanists really aren't like that. I don't know.
I mean, I have read the Satanic Bible. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a book to take seriously, but I guess there really is a Church of Satan. But nothing in the Satanic Bible suggests discrimination against race. They actually seem to be very accepting of other people in that way. And then, of course, there's Odinism. Every neo-Nazi says he's an Odinist.
Yeah. My ex thought he was an Odinist. I think it's kind of like...
J.T. Reddy was always telling me, why don't you just become an Odinist? Like, why don't I just start following some religion that I know nothing about? Okay, sure.
Well, it's the religion of your people. Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to worship Thor. I'm sure Thor was a nice fellow, but I don't want to...
Well, I just wonder what Thor and Odin would think of, what if they had been watching one of our rallies? Would they say, oh, yeah, these guys, they're with us. We want them in our ranks.
I would say no. I don't think they would. I don't even think Satan would want these guys in their